Hello and welcome to the Rangers Rabble. This is the pre-match Champions League pod for the game against Ajax. Don't know why that's doing that. I'll fix that in a minute. That should be a ticker, not just sitting up there. Here we go. Look at this, all fixed. Right. Rangers Rabble pre-match against Ajax. Joined by Scotty and Lee. How are we, boys?
That starts as good as Lee's fucking jumper.
I know. Terrible start. Terrible.
Lee's been
that is that Lee's wearing.
It's velour or whatever that is.
I mean, it's velour. It's lovely to touch. Fantastic.
He's been spent the last 10 minutes off camera touching himself. It's very, very awkward.
It's been longer than 10 minutes since I've got it on the day.
The dog is looking very sheepish in the background.
Ada's coming in with the Crystal Maze theme, but seeing as I'm on it, I guess it sort of fits it, doesn't it? Really. I don't know what Martin's doing with that theme. To be honest, I don't know when he's getting rid of it. I think it's grown on him, and this is permanent now, but hopefully not. But yes, we'll jump straight in for the team anyway. Just put it up down the bottom if anyone hasn't seen it. Obviously, injuries are very much the reason. I think the majority of this team, not the majority, but this is pretty much the 11 bar one maybe that's been forced because of injuries. So he's got McGregor in goal, a back four of Tavernier, King, Sands, and Barisic. The midfield seems to be Arfield and Davis with Tillman, I imagine, in the 10. Sakala keeps his place on the right, Kent on the left, and Cholak up top. Scotty, what are your first thoughts on that team?
I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit concerned about the midfield three. Undoubtedly, Davis is obviously quality on the ball. I like Arfield's running, but he's not as mobile as he was, nor as pacey as he was. And then you add into Tillman, who's technically very, very good. I just worry about us off the ball. I think with the way Ajax pass the ball, we'll see how it goes. But I'm excited to see Sakala play and Kent and Cholak, and particularly with Sakala's direct nature and coming inside, also Kent, we could see a really tight front three, and hopefully Tillman and his technical ability can cause some problems. And you know what? Looking at the team, looking at the back, it's probably the best of the situation that we're in at the moment. I mean, the amount of injuries we've got is just ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Leo, I usually sort of start the pre-matches. I try and go through at least positions that could have been a bit contentious, but I just can't even go through that team. Maybe you could argue Davis or Arfield for Kamara, but apart from that, we've got no other choice, have we?
Nah, we've been backed into a corner, mate, with injuries. So obviously, it's no Gio's fault. The one you probably could have argued would have been Kamara, but we've not really kind of seen him for a couple of weeks, so probably wouldn't have a bit much to kind of chuck him into a game like this as well, even though probably a 60% fit Kamara would probably still get more legs than the midfielders we've actually got on. It's same as Scott, that midfield, as much as there was no really other team we could have put out, that team worries me midfield wise. I think the rest of it we could have called it spot on, but just the energy levels, mate. It feels like it's going to be like one of those games again where we're in it right up until maybe like the 55th, 60th minute, and then we've just run out of energy because it's the kind of midfielders we've got, mate. We'll give their all, but they can't eat for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I did just see someone say, "Where's Kamara?" I'll read out the bench, and then I'll come to this point. So the bench is the two goalkeepers are Robbie McCrory and John McLaughlin. It looks like in terms of defensive cover, we've got Adam Devine and Robbie Fraser. So it looks like a right back and a left back. I don't know what we're going to do if one of the other centre backs goes down. And then you've got Lowry, Scott Wright, Matondo, Morelos, and Connor Allen, who is doing bits in the youth team in the B team. In terms of Kamara, Scotty, do you think this is purely just because he's been out for a while and he's not? Gio didn't think he's going to come straight into the team with maybe. I mean, I say lack of legs, but we've got Davis and Arthur in there. But you know what I mean. He's missed a bit of action.
It wouldn't surprise me if we see him at some point in the night, but I think it would be unfair to play him from the start and expect him to be up to speed. You've got more chance of Davison and Arfield being up to speed. And it's not just your pace, it's your awareness and it's your reading of the game. Sometimes when you're a bit rusty, even if not by playing a few weeks, it can cause you a bit of problems. And when you look at the level of opposition that we're playing, and Ajax are a top quality side, even though let's be real here, they've taken a few scuddings like we have in this group. I think it could be quite an even game actually. I'm hopeful it's going to be an even game. I'm hoping that we're going to see, almost because like there's absolutely, it's a free hit. It's a completely free hit. No one's expecting us to win 5-0 and get Europa League football, even though it's a possibility. It's a completely free hit. So the shackles are off. In terms of scoreline, I think it'll be quite close, but I think we'll still see a few goals. And it should be a really exciting game because Ajax are, again, they're playing with the shackles off. So hopefully, with them being open, us being open, it'll be an entertaining game.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention at the start, guys. Been so used to doing some of the member shows lately. Please like and subscribe to the pod. It does help get us out there. We're closing in on, I believe, 7,000 subscribers. And then there's plenty of member stuff as well. If you want to join for a member, little as $1.99 a month, you get loads of extra content. You get I think it's 3 extra shows now you get, and there's the Jimmy Gibson interview coming up, which is pretty good to get a sort of deep dive into the early 2000s around Rangers from the guy trying to break through, as well as some other things. And I think there's even more coming as well on top of that. So it's well worth the $1.99 a month. We're also sponsored by Zenith Coins, and RR10 at the checkout will get you 10% off any order. I was just seeing that. I don't know if you saw that graphic that popped up in terms of injuries. I mean, the only place we don't really have injuries at the moment is the goalkeepers, but out with those, they put up a team basically of injuries earlier, which was, you'd have a back four of Ben Davies, Hollander, Goldson, Suter, Lundstrom, Jack, Ridvan, Lawrence, Hadji, and Roof. It's just an audacious amount. Can you say an audacious amount of bad luck or a mix of bad luck and poor conditioning? Who knows? But it's absolutely crippling at the moment, isn't it?
I think what you're saying with the goalkeepers, the only position that have not had an injury. I think the way they've been playing, all 3 of them, mate, we might as well put them in the injury category, honestly. It's hard to tell, mate. We all, coming on here and complaining about our fitness looks miles off it compared to last season. But then you've got Gio and that coming out saying there's not really much changed. I think we can all kind of understand that's a bit of a fib from the we look just miles off it as a team fitness-wise. And we need to wonder what we're doing behind the scenes with these injuries because, like I say, mate, was that 12? You said 12 first-team players out. And not even just first-team players, mate. It's like nailed-on starters. You could argue like Ben Davies is probably, natural left-back now. Ridvan would probably, in a couple of games, be it. You just wonder what's going on, mate. I know a couple of medical staff left in the summer. Have we just not recruited well enough to, bring in new people alongside like when it was Gerrard's reign? It's just hard to put fingers on it, mate, because that's the one place that I do feel for Gio sometimes, is how many injuries we've had. But it's trying to make a balance between, is it just unlucky or is it the fact that we're on this new regime which is causing these injuries? So is it self-inflicted to an extent? Because like even Ridvan's been on the park for 3 minutes and started and he's gone. Like there's always so much bad luck, that can come for these kind of things. So it's depressing, mate. It is. It's depressing in that sense.
Yeah, it's such a hard one to really even try and judge on, isn't it? Because it's obviously not Gio's fault that they're picking up injuries. Gio doesn't take care of the conditioning.
Listen, right, if you look at the players that are injured, okay, well, if you've got a squad of 28 players, you can reasonably expect that 5 of them will be unavailable. But when you look at the other 5 or 6, they're constantly injury prone, and it's like we talked about it before. It's bad planning. It's bad planning. It's like look at Kemar Roof and look at his injury record. Why is at Rangers and before he's at Rangers? Terrible injury record. Ryan Jack, we know what injury record that he's got. Hollander, we know what injury record he's got. John Suter, we know his injury record. Like, that is bad planning. You can't make up a squad of 20, 25 players and 20, 30% of them are injury prone and then go, oh shit, this is bad luck. It's not fucking bad luck. It's bad planning.
See, I would argue a slight bit against that in things of where like, the bad luck is. Like you look at Ben Davies, he might have like pre-existing injury conditions, but he was out for a large part of the season for personal issues. You bring John Suter back in. Like we all know his injury issues, but then apparently it's completely unrelated. Like he breaks his foot, which is something that he's never done before. So it's like an injury out with what he's used to. So it's a combination of both. It's bad planning and the fact they're just having shocking luck.
It's not, because some players are injury prone. Regardless, it doesn't have to be the same injury. They just constantly, consistently get injured, whether it's a hamstring or an ankle or a calf injury or a groin injury. I mean, look at Ryan Jack or Kemar Roof and their injury record. You can guarantee that it's not the same injury that they're picking up consistently. I think Jack maybe with his knee, but then Philip Hollander, he's always out with something. John Suter, it hasn't always been his Achilles. It's always been something. I'm not including Ben Davis or Tom Lawrence or Ridvan in that. I don't know much about Ridvan's injury record, or Connor Goldson for that matter, because like obviously he's just been ever present. But what I'm saying is, when you've got a squad of 25 players, actual fact, a squad of 18 players as we've got, and this many players, and then we're wondering, okay, well, why are we playing Stephen Davis and Scott Arfield? It's because it's bad planning. We didn't look at the squad at the start of the season and go, right, okay, well, our ambitions are 2 cups, a league title, and a European campaign. That can amount to 60 games. Are we reasonably expecting that the current squad can go through 60 games? We've only just turned into November. We're thankful, actually. We're actually lucky that we've got a World Cup coming up, and hopefully we can get some players back. But this is terrible planning. There's no way around it.
Yeah. I did just see a thing pop up. Who just put this up?
I will say that.
Sorry, Scott. That is indeed Fabio Cardozo, who had his nose split open at Motherwell. Now starting Champions League games for Porto, so he's not done too bad for himself there.
I wouldn't actually blame any of the blame Gio or any fitness staff, because you could be the best physio in the world, but a physio is a reactive person rather than a proactive person. They can only deal with injuries. They can't. No one's got a crystal ball and say, right, okay, well, he's going to do his calf in this game and he's going to be out for 4 weeks afterwards. Massage his calf a bit harder. It doesn't, like, you know.
No, but I think some of the arguments around in terms of conditioning is the pre-injury. I think the likes of, we know Roos injury prone, but he's never sort of come back, got injured straight away. And then again, it might just be bad luck. But when all our players were dropping like flies, and then even the injury prone guys that can barely, like Jack, it's happened to Jack as well, comes back and he's almost instantly back out. I'll just read this as Diabus. Ever since Martin said this, by the way, is it Di Rebus? Lowry's on the bench. McCann isn't. I'm not sure if McCann wasn't. No, he can't be involved in the BT Champions League games, can he? So, not sure why. I don't know if he's picked up a knock, but he's not. He might not even be in the team, to be honest, because he doesn't qualify as homegrown. So I imagine he's probably not in the team registered for the Champions League. But Lowry is on the bench. In terms of the results, I mean, I saw people saying like they're a bit worried that we might pick up more injuries tonight, and we all joke about 5-0 to continue the European run past Christmas, but in terms of actually taking this maybe a bit easy tonight to avoid the injuries, we can't really afford to do that with the money on offer, can we? Because it's sort of £2.8 million that can go in the bank with the win.
There's a couple of reasons why, because I was kind of swaying back and forth between taking it easy tonight, but out with the financial situation, mate, you've seen kind of the media and the build up to this game, how we could end up the worst Champions League team in history, like the lowest goal difference, and it's just for that kind of sense of pride, mate. That's one thing I think going out with it. I don't think I could handle, mate. I think for that reason alone is why we really need to take this seriously, because we can become a laughing stock of Europe. We've spent years slagging them across the city for like their record in Europe, and then our first season back to the Champions League, and we could end up with that. Mate, I think that's what Gio needs to say to the players in that dressing room. It's like, you need to go there and play for pride. And more than anything, it has to be for pride. You know, you can't embarrass this club even more than we have this season in Europe. We need to kind of just take a stand and win. We need to win tonight for me, because otherwise it's just a joke, mate. And I know it might sound like it's been a bit harsh, but for like a team of ours and the kind of standards that we expect to Rangers, you don't want to be leaving your first Champions League group back in 12 years with that record. So
yeah, no, Scott. I mean, no Scottish clubs ever lost all 6 games in the Champions League group. Saw a stat today that Rangers have never been beaten at home more than twice by the same team in Europe. Ajax have beaten us at home twice, so they could become the first team. There's a lot of sort of unwanted records that Lee goes on about. But in terms of, you know, what everyone wants, that's got to go to the back of the mind, really, hasn't it? It's just got to be about keeping those energy levels that we showed on Saturday, and you know, trying to get something out of this game, because, as I say, 2.8 for the win. I think it's like a 1.1 million, I think, just for the draw, and of course, not ending with that unwanted record.
Yeah, that doesn't really bear thinking about this stage. I think if you're going into this game, I'd rather go in to the players in that dressing room with positive messages. Let's go out. Let's actually make a statement. Let's beat Ajax. Let's take something away from this group. Let's beat Ajax. We're not Ajax or a quality team. We've already knocked out PSV Eindhoven from the division. We're more than capable of matching and beating teams at this level. Let's go out and actually prove it and do it, and then send a message. And then next season, when we're ready, more capable, more prepared to actually do something on this stage, then we'll show it. But for now, let's beat what's in front of us. We can only beat what's in front of us, and then everything else will take care of itself. Not fussed about money. I can give 2 shits, because at the moment it seems like any money that's going into the club is not actually getting invested as we would like to see it invested. So it makes no difference to me or you whether we get another 2.8 million in the bank. Yeah, okay, the board of directors, I'm sure, will be happy, but I really couldn't give 2 shits. I just want to see this Rangers team win.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree. I think we're sort of conditioned to think about the money a little bit, Lee, aren't we? But from where we've been and everything that goes along with that, it's, you know, we always talk about commercial. I think we're one of the only clubs that do talk about commercial revenue so much because of, you know, I think partly down to that lot, but also, you know, what we've been told over the years. In terms of what this team can do, though, tonight, I can't say I know too much about Ajax. That's a bit harder than the Scottish games when you get a chance to see them each week. Obviously, there's some standout names in there. You know, Tadic starts. Bassey looks like he's at centre back tonight, which is seemingly where he plays for Ajax now. He's come under fire a little bit in the media from a former Ajax manager, saying that they can't. It's, again, not good for us, because it's he can't believe that Ajax are paying that money to Scottish football to take a player out of it. Do you think Bassey could be someone we can get at tonight? If it, you know, low on confidence, we sort of see that he could have sort of some slip ups when he was with us.
The game that stands out the most to me, I think it was Sparta Prague away from home, where Bassey had an absolute stinker. Fair enough, he's came on leaps and bounces then, but I don't believe that he is, you know, untouchable after a year, you know, of progression. Like you're saying, he's kind of getting a wee bit of a hard time now for the Dutch media over there, and that can only really affect the boy's confidence. Plus, we don't know how he'll, you know, handle the occasion of coming back to Ibrox. It could be like a factor in him, you know, slipping up at times. I don't think Bassey, just as a player like himself, is to get that. I think the whole Ajax team for this game, on the basis of the amount of times that I've heard, especially people in this podcast, have said tonight, the games in the Champions League are a free hit. This is as free hit as it can get with this one. This is like, you know, the be all and end all. Both of us are out. I think we're both, you know, well aware that we're not going to beat them 5-0. So Ajax are going to get third. So this is as big a free hit as we're probably going to get. So why not? Why can't we not beat them tonight? Because I think this is the biggest chance we have got of getting points.
Yeah, Yeah, and Scott, I mean, this. I'm just about to say, I usually go through the team, obviously, and we look at positions that we could have been this player or that player. And there was one position, I guess, that you could have said, or maybe couldn't have, depending on how people feel about him. Gio's tended to favour Morelos up front in the Champions League games. Do you think out of all the Champions League games, and I'm just trying to play some sort of devil's advocate to get the conversation going, but could this have been maybe the one that Morelos would have been suited to with the size of someone like Bassey at centre back? And I know he hasn't pushed defenders around as much as he used to, but he does have that physical presence.
That's an interesting one because as far as look, there's going to be no better person than Gio to know how Morelos would fare against Bassey because they would have come against each other in training. Yeah. And if that's probably an indication of the size and strength of Bassey, if even with the knowledge of that, he's still gone, actually, no, we'll be better off with Cholak because if we go toe-to-toe, muscle-to-muscle, he might be thinking Bassey's got the edge there. And let's be real, Bassey's also ridiculously fast.
Yeah.
He's also, and I saw someone highlighting this in the comments who said that he's garbage in the air. And that was one of my criticisms. I always said, like at the start of last season, if Bassey learns how to head the ball, he'll be a top class defender. And for me, that's what he did towards the end of last season. And he was an absolute colossus in that Europa League final. And actually in the semi-final, do you know, he was just a colossus when he went in the closing stage of the last season. So that's why he is where he is. In terms of like how Ajax see him as a weakness, that's with the ball at his feet, and he can work on that. I've got absolutely no qualms that he'll be a top class centre back. Ajax playing a certain way, so they want a ball playing centre back. If you just look at Martinez, he's now at Manchester United. Obviously, he's light years ahead of Bassey in terms of ball at his feet, but that's who he's come in and essentially replaced. So it may not actually work out for him long term at Ajax, but he's a top class centre back. Not all players just fit in seamlessly to every club. But interestingly, it's really telling that you said that. But where I see Cholak getting joy is that anything in and around that box, he's lightning and he's on it and he's a poacher. And where we have seen perhaps slips in Bassey is probably his attention, and his focus, and he has those lapses in concentration where he miskicks the ball or like he misjudges the timing of the ball coming across in the box. And we know if there's a guy, if you're choosing Morelos or Cholak, that you want in and around that box, it's got to be Cholak every day of the week. Now, I think just Cholak's just an all-round better striker than Morelos at the moment.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can argue with any of what you say. It's really interesting. I just wanted to bring it up as a sort of counterweight, I guess, to Gio maybe going with Morelos more often than not in this competition. Loads of people picking out Lee's fancy dress. Don't know if Stoke's a bit behind.
Oh, it's hot
for Halloween, but also interested to know, Leo, you own every sort of team football shirt except Rangers. What's going on there, mate?
I used to wear Rangers at the start, mate, before they started embarrassing me in Europe. So, I'll move back to it when we start doing better. I think there's nothing wrong with this. What is wrong with this? Someone said the colours, it's red and blue.
It's
two for the Rangers.
It's pink.
It's not pink, it's red and blue. It's fucking Bayern Munich.
Comments, is that red or is that pink? I can see pink.
It's fucking red. Look at it.
I don't know if it's...
You can keep saying and pointing at a pink shirt, but it's still pink.
When did you ever see Bayern Munich playing pink, mate?
Oh, exactly. That's what wondering which Turkish market you got it from.
Yeah, I think you put it in the wrong wash. It does look pink, mate. Someone said maroon. There you go. You'll have to settle on maroon. Yeah, I'm just seeing a few people bring up.
And just find the brightest stuff that you can find on the bedroom floor.
Listen, mate. It gets people talking. It's engagement, isn't it? That's what it's all about. Plus, Ross had to, pull it last minute, so I felt confident enough when I could.
Yes, he would never have worn this if Ross was on the pod.
Aye, mate, I would have had the camera off.
I've seen a few people mention sort of GS press conferences, Lee, I'm one of his biggest critics in his press conferences, right? And I don't want to, on the back of some positivity, I don't want to go back into all that negativity. I think maybe he's getting a little bit of a hard rap on the competing one, because I think it's maybe, I don't know if it's the translation or translation from him, or if it's taken out of context, because I don't think he's saying, oh, we can't be expected to ever compete with Ajax. I think he's just saying, this is a team that regularly compete at this level. On our day, we can absolutely match them. So I think maybe that one's a little bit unfair to slaughter him for that.
So was this the one right back at the start of the campaign you're speaking about, or tonight?
I think he said it tonight, only because I'm seeing it through the rounds. It may be the one being rehashed, but the one I saw was being banded about tonight. I'll see if I can find the actual quote for you in a bit.
Yeah, because I've not seen the one tonight so far. If it was based on the previous one, regardless if it was maybe mistranslated, still somewhat a poor choice of words, regardless of whether you think you can compete or not in this competition. It's not really something you say in public. I think straight for that moment, the team more or less have felt beat for the fucking kickoff, because if you get a manager behind you who's saying we can't compete at this level, then you're just going to have that ingrained in your head that you can't. So if it was a mistranslation, again, it's still a poor choice of words, because at a club like us, you don't accept that. You don't accept, regardless of whether these teams have got millions and millions more than us. We're Rangers, so we should be always look to compete in these games. Based on tonight's, if you give me the quote, I'll see.
Yeah, sorry, I've just it's similar, but I think he's sort of rewording it from what, I don't know if he's trying to correct himself from what he said, because I did slaughter that one at the start of the campaign. He's basically saying I'd be disappointed not to get any points. We're not at the level that Ajax are, but we are developing. They play at a higher level, their budget is higher, but we can compete with them on the day, and especially at Ibrox.
It's still pessimistic to me, mate. It's like you're kind of just like, understandable he's saying, oh, at Ibrox anything can happen, but he started it off saying that we're not at the level at Ajax. Mate, we know we're not, like, this group's showing it, but don't come out before the game and say it. But why is he coming out before the game and saying, oh, here we're not at the same level as them, but maybe at Ibrox we can do something? Just keep it to yourself. Stop being so diplomatic about it. Just if you say that, like, if you think that behind the scenes, fair enough. Again, still know the kind of qualities I'd want in the Rangers manager, if that's his mindset. But if you're going to say anything, you don't need to say we're inferior to them. Like, just be like, we're going to give them a right good game at Ibrox. We're ready for this, play up.
Yeah, Scott. I mean, it's an interesting one, Joe, because I just don't really understand his press conferences this season, because I don't really, and it might have been because it was a bit more successful last season out with the league. I don't really remember his press conferences being that bad. A bit drab, but not bad. Not him putting his foot in it all the time. But this season it seems to.
Mate, it's because everyone fell asleep after the first game. We didn't notice what he was saying. Like, it's fucking boring. It's like, I think he's one of these guys that's a completely different off camera. Because, like, you look at him in the candid videos, for example, that video of him and Bassey, like in the stand, and he's smiling, joking, and like a little bit more relaxed. Stick an actual camera in front of his face, and he turns into the most boring guy on the planet. And maybe he's just not that kind of guy. But his press conferences since he's come in have been uninspiring and vanilla. It's probably the best way to put it. Vanilla. You just kind of like listen, you switch off, you don't really pay attention. You don't actually get any information out of him either. He regurgitates the same lines and he regurgitates the same cliches. So you don't actually learn anything. And I think we were probably perhaps spoiled a little bit by Gerrard, who there was a lot of emotion in what his press conferences were, and you could tell the feeling about him, whether he was upbeat, buoyant, or angry, upset, or just disappointed in what's going on and what's transpiring. And in a way, it might actually be a good thing that we've got that complete level of, or lack of, emotion coming from Gio, because it all keeps us grounded. But it's just boring.
Yeah, and I mean, Tim agrees with you, but he also agrees that we're all boring. So it's a hard watch. I feel sorry for Tim because he's having to watch Gio's press conferences. He's then tuned into the rabble, which he finds boring, and now he's going to potentially go watch us lose our 6th Champions League game. So I'm feeling really big time for Tim at the moment.
What do you want us to say? Tell us what you want us to say.
This is why I'm
mate. Come on.
This is why I'm wearing all the bright colours.
Is there something you are seeing that we're not showing? Is there a lot? Am I missing something? Because Lee has come up as his best peacock. What more?
Mate, the plan is if it's bright enough colours, hopefully it'll blind people enough that they don't need to watch it tonight. There you go.
It's not great, is it? It's not great.
To be fair, mate, I'm actually quietly confident. We need to play with the intensity of Saturday. I thought by far, I mean, it's not really not much of a contest, but Saturday was our best performance of the season. Understandable, it's a big jump up in quality to Ajax, but if we go in with that mindset, then who knows? Who knows? Fair enough, maybe it's harder with the midfield that we've got because we've not got Lonnie sitting in there, the kind of legs to that side. But mate, do you know what? We've taken 5 absolute shaggings. Why can we not just be a wee bit positive? Why can we not just think, do you know what? It's at home in our final game to the team who's also taken equal amounts of shaggings. So why can we not? Do you know what? We'll go at it. We'll have a good game. Yeah.
I mean, Lee is the worry though in this team that like in terms of the style that Gio says he has, and he's trying to implement with this team. With the amount of injuries, with the chopping and changing of this team, you're going up against a quality outfit in Ajax. Let's not joke around. Despite the sort of humpings they've taken as well, they're still a quality. Where is it? Absolutely no problem, Tim. We all miss him when he's not here as well. Although it does give us a little break from him, so it's nice at the same time. It's the worry there that, like you, I mean, you've already mentioned the legs in the middle of the park. There's also going to be a worry about just the general sort of philosophy that this team can go out there and produce, because then a lot of these guys wouldn't have had time together. And any time that we're going to be under the cosh, it's an untested centre-back partnership. You're still confident after all that?
I mean, it might be a bit, blinded confidence, mate. It might be just blind faith. But, I mean, how many times have we seen Rangers with our backs are against the wall and we pull out a performance, mate? And I think this is probably the game that speaks out for most. We've got an 18-year-old centre-back who's our most experienced centre-back. Got a makeshift one of midfield at about a combined age of 90. It's just, everything is against us, mate. But that's usually the performances for Rangers, that they actually, stand up and be counted. Again, it's no, in the league where this could happen. It's against Ajax in the Champions League, and we probably could get absolutely battered again. But there's no point in being depressed about it, because, I mean, the group's already done. So just go out and put in a performance, and hopefully, we get a victory that can hopefully propel us on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I just wanted to bring up, I don't know if he's talking about the team, because I saw someone sort of reply regarding the team on this, but if it's in terms of us, I was just about to try and flip that then back on it to Scotty and say, regardless of everything, Scotty, regardless of, even if we had dropped points against Aberdeen, which obviously we didn't, we actually had a good performance, but even if we had coming into this, we could be coming into this in bad form, injuries galore, makeshift team, makeshift defence. You still just, as soon as you sit down in front of that telly, you're thinking, we're going to win this, or that confidence builds again. That's what I find with Rangers. I can't ever not, especially at Ibrox, not be confident that we're going to go and get something.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. And you look at the players that we've got, and I've always, I don't know, I just don't want to contradict myself. You look at the players that we've got, and you look at the stage that we're on, and no matter what happens with the opposition, the expectation is to win. And the expectation is of the players that they're capable of winning. We know Ryan Kent is capable of magic. We know Cholak can score goals from anywhere. Sakala is that unpredictable. I don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he does. So what chance does the opposition know what he's going to do? we know that Stephen Davis, whether that's Rangers or Northern Ireland, is extremely reliable. Scotty Arfield never stops running, never stops battling. You've got Tav, who injured or not, he's the captain, and he's scored at the weekend, and he's put in a very good performance. Barisic has come off the bench, put in a very good performance. And if you look at Saturday and the way that we pass the ball, the zip, the speed, and the intent is something that's been missing all season. And there is absolutely no reason why that cannot continue tonight. And if we do that, of course we'll get a result. Absolutely. Because what we need is that fast start, that fast European start that catapults us for the rest of the 90 minutes. Because as soon as we get that start, we've seen it. We've all heard the noise that these fans make. And then from there, we've seen opposition players go into their shell, and we just build and build and build.
Yep, absolutely can't say better than that. The goal was a must from Aldo. And I don't know how much Gio had in the say of signing Lovelace. So I think he was probably tracked for a while. I actually believe Lovelace, the reason we won the race for him, was based on him being in and around the first team this season anyway. Obviously, I guess things change based on results. But maybe with the injuries, he maybe will get a chance. Sometimes he's obviously made an appearance in the cup. But I think the lad is still only, what's he, 16, maybe just turned 17, if not. Is a very, very young lad. So his time will come like a few of the other guys. So Lee, just, I mean, we'll give everyone some time back to go and prepare and get their beers ready and that for the game. In terms of a score line and a first goal scorer, what are you going to go with today? And everyone else, if you could chuck yours in the comments, and we'll bring a few up for you.
3-1 Rangers. I think it'll be Tav, first goal scorer, fair penalty.
First goal. Well, you can get 200 to 1, by the way, for 5-0 and Rangers qualifying for the Europa League. So there you go. Scotty, what about you?
2-1 Rangers. Ryan Kent, first goal scorer.
Ryan Kent. Wow, look at that, eh? Loads of confidence in the pod boys. Aaron's gone with 2-2. Someone else, King Rex, gone 2 each as well. Cammy's gone 1-0. Sakala. Lots of 2-2s coming through. 2-1 Cholak, 2-1 and 5-0, I believe. 3-2 Rangers. I've seen someone, I don't know if it was Doug anyway, but he's been putting in the chat loads that we're going to win 6-1 tonight. 2-0, 5-0. Golak. Buff's going to come on and get one. Tough Pen, 2-1, 2-1. So plenty of 2-1 blue tips, maybe.
When was the last time we won by 5 goals at Ibrox?
Hearts. Was that Ibrox? I think they've said that Gio's won 5-0 once as Rangers manager. And I believe it was Hearts. I may be wrong now. I think I just saw it pop up on Twitter somewhere. But where that is, I don't know. I can't actually tell you the last time I won 5-0, but hey, you never know. Hamilton 8-0. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Hamilton 8-0, of course, under Gerrard. We did beat Hearts 5-0. Hearts in February. Stu, same question to you like I asked the other lads. 1-0, win 1-0 or win 5-1? Oh, go on then. We'll do this one quick. So Lee, would you rather win 1-0, take the money back down there, out of the competition, didn't get the defeat, or do we go 5-1 and we get the same prize, but we also get the heartbreak of being 1 goal away?
5-1. I don't think that's really a quick question. You want put on a show for your fans at home. If it ends up where we go, mate, where did they score the 1? Is it 4-1 and then we make it 5-1 like the last minute and it didn't really matter anyway? Five goals at home, mate, every time. Especially against a team like Ajax. You want to put on a show for your fans. Plus the confidence that we get you going into the league. You've just put 5 past Ajax. So
same to you, Scotty. I mean, I'll call you the masochist here, and here's Lee wanting his heart broken again and again.
5-1. I want to see Rangers. If I see Rangers score 5 goals in the Champions League, we win 5-4, 5-1, 5-0. I'm fucking delighted. Absolutely. Why wouldn't you want to see us score 5 goals?
There you go, Curry. They both want 5-1. They want that close heartbreak. I'll get it. Fury Bear 5-1. What are you saying? It was a hypothetical question. Would you rather go out winning 1-0 or go out winning 5-1? Because obviously 5-1 means you're 1 goal away, and I take it even worse. The goal probably comes in the last minute to break your heart even more. But like the boys say, 5 goals at home would be pretty special, wouldn't it? I don't think it's going to happen, but I do think we're going to win. I do believe, like the boys, that we're going to win. So let's all jump off. We'll go get our beers. We will be back at half time. I don't know who's coming on with me. Initially it was Ross, but he's had some things pop up, so I don't think he's going to make half time. He might do. So I don't know who's jumping in for him. We've got Scotty Lee back for the reaction, and I believe we're going to be joined by JD as well. So plenty to look forward to. Hopefully the score is going to give us something to look forward to as well. So lastly, thanks to Scotty and thanks to Lee. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Lee,
Thank you.
What is it? What are you saying?
Page.
But I want to put on something more colourful.
I
I don't know what it is yet, but I know I've got a few options. So
I'll see what I can do.
So you should come back just to see what Lee's ensemble is going to be for the reaction. But join us at half time. Hopefully we're celebrating the lead at half time, and we'll see you then. Thanks very much.